Good morning, guys. Welcome to another video. First of all, my apologies in advance because of my voice. I have a bit of a cold and my voice will be a bit funny. Anyway, let's start. We're gonna make a crossover ring, very simple one. Finger size, whatever you want. Select the stones. We're gonna use 2 round stones, something like 75 pointers, something like that. Move it up, okay, and let's just position the stone on the right place. We will position one and the other one is going to be rotate with copy. Okay, so it's kind of we only have to make it once. Okay, can just rotate. Well, not this rotate. Sorry. Let's position the stone. Try to make it always like if the stone is looking to the 0 enter, to the 0, sort of. Okay, doesn't need to be exactly like that. You can check on other views. And now before doing the rotate with copy, make sure you have history on, so it's gonna be way easier because we can make the rotation. You should know this already, but anyway, if we move one, we will move the other one. Leave a tiny gap, don't put them exactly, this would be too close in my opinion. Okay, what else? We have the stones positioned. Let me save the file. Okay. Yeah, I'll select the finger rail, F6, and we will draw the outside shape of the ring. This one should be alright. If it's a crossover ring, you might want it to look slightly pointy on the top. Just a tiny little bit, like the first one, for example. Okay, let's make it 1.8, 1.8, and something like this should be fine. I want the stones to come up a little tiny bit, so let's make it like this. Of course, depending on the stone sizes that you've chosen, it's going to be a bit different. Okay, and now let me just create the under bezel. I just want to see how it's going to look. As usual, remember around 1 mil on the bottom, 1.5 here. Okay, and let's make rotate with copy again. Okay, this should be alright. Don't worry about this, we will sort it out later. What else? Okay, now it's time we draw the actual shank. So I'm gonna get the last curve that we draw, the outside one, and I'm gonna turn it into a surface. I don't want a solid, so solid no, just a surface. Okay, what else? Now, the width of the shank. Let's draw a line. Let's say 3.5. Stones are quite big, so 3.5 should be fine. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna make these lines in another layer because we have this green here already. I'm just gonna position this little line here. Make sure you check the quadrant. And now I will just draw a straight line. Let's make it with this layer. Straight line up. Okay. Why do I'm doing this? Because now I'm gonna use bend to basically bend this line. So the idea is to bend it to kind of this point. Okay. I'm not quite happy with the way it bends. You see, because it's bending from the bottom. I kind of want it to bend a bit higher. Let's try to rebuild the line. I want to make it smoother. Okay. This is really up to you. You can just draw whatever line you want, but the whole purpose is to draw a simple line. Okay. I think something like that would work. Then, what do I need to do? First of all, check that this line it's completely straight and it doesn't goes in. Okay, I want this line not to, I'm trying to avoid this. You see, I don't want the line to go in and out. I want the line just to go out. Okay, in terms of quality, it's going to look much better. Right, we know this line is how much? 3.5. So now we should make another offset, which is going to be exactly 3.5. Okay, what do I do with these lines now? That's the key thing of the whole exercise. I just need to extrude them. We can even do it one way, so probably it's going to be easier to understand. And I'm just going to make intersect. Intersect, remember, it's also here. Okay, so I'm going to intersect this surface with these two. So I get these lines. Okay, that is the key thing of the whole exercise. Right, now I can delete this surface. I only made it to create these lines. And I'm going to select both and I'm going to make rotate with copy to the other side. And now they should join perfectly. See, I have 4 lines. I'm going to hide this for a second. I can remove this. I have 4 lines that if I join them, 2 open curves. Okay, you need to have this before you carry on with anything else. If you don't have these lines beautifully symmetric and nice looking, go backwards and do it again. Right. Okay. Now let's do something similar now. We're going to make another solid because we only draw the top part of the, sorry, the outside part of the shank. Okay, we need the inside, the finger rail. How can we do that quite easily? We just select the 2 lines that we just made and we run pull, delete input no, and we pull these lines into this surface. Okay, so as you can see, if I hide this, now you will have these lines. Just make sure when you look from the side view that the lines are as much inside of each other as possible. Okay, right, you can see here I don't want my shank to go so open. Now I'm going to start drawing the shank, but don't worry, you have this because we're going to change this. You see, if you look now from the side view, you will see a straight line there. You might not want that. It's fine, we can change it. Okay, first of all, let's put the stones there, and actually the stone should sit a bit higher than that. You see, because the shank is going a bit in, so I'm just going to move the stones up. Okay, we could make the under bezel completely solid, or we could make it open. I'm going to show you how to make both. Under bezel, you see that's more what I wanted. Something like that. Remember, now here we could do what we've done before, rotate with copy, or we could just select the stone that has nothing, F6, match attributes, select the original stone and bezel. Okay, as I said, don't worry about this, we will change that later. Okay, let's make the shank. First of all, we could draw a line here, a line on the quadrant. This line, it's gonna make the shank straight or any shape we want. I don't want it straight, so I'm gonna rebuild it with 3 control points, and I can just select these 2 control points and make a little arc. Okay, it's really up to you how straight you want it. Then let's try to make now a sweep to rail and see what happens. 1 rail, 2 rail, and as I said, just make half of the shank. Okay, kind of alright, but now I'm not sure if I want this like that. I want to change it a little bit. We could try to make this, you see, we could just rotate it slightly and it matches a bit better the top. We could even bring it up. Well, I'm not going to bring it up because it changes too much the design. If you want, you can try to taper it. I don't usually like that. I don't think it looks very nice, but up to you. You can just make, sorry, I'm explaining it. So I'm doing it again. Select the line, scale 1D from the middle point to the end point, and I can make it a bit shorter, and it's gonna taper it. Actually, it doesn't look that bad. It's alright. We can leave that. Okay, now because the shape has changed, I cannot use these lines anymore. Okay, the ones that I did. So I'm gonna just get rid of them. Actually, you can get rid of all the lines except this one. Okay, this one I don't need it anymore. The finger rail, always keep it. Never delete this line. Okay, in any exercise that you're gonna make, please keep this line. Okay, now we need to create lines underneath these lines. How can we do that? There are two different ways. You could do what we've done and pull the lines into the finger rail, but we need the lines first. Now here we don't have lines, so we need to create them again. Duplicate edge, and we have the lines again. Okay, so we could technically create another solid. Let's call it fake solid, and get these lines and pull them into the fake solid. Okay, and again with this one. Okay, and that could work. Okay, let's carry on with this, and then I'll show you the other way to do it. Right now, we like the outside, that's what it matters. And now we can just make more sweep to rails to create the actual chunk. So sweep to rail, that's one rail, another rail, cross-section curve, cross-section curve. Okay, and again, first rail to rail, cross-section, and cross-section, enter, enter. So as you can see, it's kind of almost there. Okay, but that's the problem it has. I don't really like this flat curve here. I want that to bring it in a little bit. You could just press F11, which is solid PT on, solid point on. I think F11 is a keyboard shortcut that you might not have on Matrix by default. So basically just select the surface and check this button. Transform, solid PT on. Okay, it basically creates control points at the surfaces and allow us to play with it a little bit, to move it a little bit. Okay, that is one way to do it. Kind of works. I use that. The other way to do it would be to do it without the lines. How can we do that? It's a bit more technical, but you have more control over what you're doing. I would do it just with this line and another line here. Without using sweep to rail, I would use sweep one rail. Let's make this a bit longer. Just a tiny bit longer. Just make sure that it goes a bit through the finger rail. You see? And now I'm going to use sweep one rail. Cross section and cross section curve. As you can see, it creates a surface. What's the benefit of this? That if I just get this line and move it, I have a bit more of control of what I'm doing, really. Okay. If I want to have even more control, I could just go backwards, create sweep one rail, see here it has created a little loop. Don't worry about that. What I could do just is duplicate edge, duplicate this edge, and basically edit this line however I want it to look. I mean, you don't have to do this. This is just for me to show you different ways to do it. Okay, so now I extend this line to this point, and first of all, this line, it will obviously would not be here. So we need to make the fake solid again, and basically just pull this line into the solid. Okay, so now from the side view, you will have this line. So if you make this line again now, sorry, normal straight line, what you could do, this is probably how I would do it if I was doing it like for real for the customer. Basically, edit these lines, edit this line that we just made to match it however I want it to look. How would I do that? If I just press control point now, I have too many. I don't need that many. So I need to rebuild this line. Rebuild. I would usually say 12 or 8. When rebuilding lines, when drawing lines, always try to use numbers that you can divide. This is quite technical and don't worry too much about it now, but it's gonna be much easier if you divide a line by 12 or by 8 than by 10, because 12 you can divide by 8, by 6, by 3, by 4. You can get a bit fucked up if you think too much about it, so don't take it too seriously so far. Just try to do that. So I rebuild the line by 12, and now very important, make sure you check these two. Okay, actually I'm gonna rebuild it by 8 because it's quite a short line, and I'm gonna join this line. I'm gonna get rid of it first because I know that this is already in the right position. So all this, I'm gonna edit the control points, and I'm gonna move them all to the endpoint, sorry, to the, so that they are close to the surface. I know there are easier ways to do this, well, faster ways to do it, but in my opinion, this is one of the best ways. Okay, just make sure that you have a smooth line. You see this is wrong. Okay, that looks a bit better for me. Okay, so now let's make another line here without these two options, and sweep to rail. Okay, and now let's see how it's getting on. You see, I really prefer this design than the one I've showed you before. It just looks a bit nicer. Let me also take a look roughly how it's going to look when we finish it. It's important to do this quite often because otherwise you will need to change it everything again at the end. Okay. Of course it's gonna be close head, not rub over. Okay. Let's just make the other one. To do this, it's gonna probably, let me try to do this first. So I'm gonna extrude this line that way, and extrude this line in the other direction. Just click on direction and set a direction. I cannot do that. Okay. Let's pull it to the surface. Okay, and again, you see it doesn't really matches exactly. What we could do, just make sure that here you have enough metal, because if it goes very thin, the ring is gonna break. So if you draw a line from end to end point and you check length 2.1, that's plenty. But still, before I do that, let me get this line, and I'm gonna do the same as I did before. Rebuild 8 control points, and I'm gonna edit this line. Check these two boxes always when doing this, and just draw it. Okay, always when you move the points, I recommend pressing shift, so you will move it properly where it should go. You could also check here for points, so it will find the right point, and near you will need. Okay, this one I'm gonna move it a bit up. I usually make jewelry kind of solid, so like I don't make something flimsy. That's why you will see that my designs tend to be a bit thicker than usual. Okay, let's see if that works. Also, another thing that you could do to make sure when you're doing this thing of editing the points like this, it could be, especially at the beginning, that the line stays a bit away from the finger rail. Okay, so you check from here, it's not exactly where it should go. You see, it's going a bit in. If you want to make sure you don't make that mistake before you start making the sweeps, get these two lines, press pull, delete input yes, and now these lines are exactly in the finger rail. Okay, it's like a security measure, let's say. Right, now let's finish this. Okay, we can hide the finger rail for a second, sweep to rail, okay, so we have the two sweep to rails, and we have this. Okay, let's join it, and let's make a mirror copy, sorry, rotation with copy, and let's see how that looks. It's alright. Another thing that we could have done, I'll show you, is to make the ring, I mean, common sense would be to make the ring completely flat in the inside, but if you want to make it look slightly nicer, you could do the following. I'm drawing just normal lines, and I would normally do a sweep to rail if I want it flat. Let's assume that I'm going to make it flat for a second. Sweep to rail, cross section, and we have a normal flat ring in the inside. But if I want it a bit D-shape in the inside, I'm gonna do what I did before on the outside. So 3 control points, move it a bit down like that, so I have a little arc. I would usually make it much less than the outside, because I don't want the ring to look flimsy. And I'm gonna use this. I know it's a surface, and I know it's higher, but I can just use it. Always make it flat on the top. Sorry, because we have the settings and all that, so it's gonna be nicer. Sweep to rail, and that's it. Of course, I need to explode again. Get rid of this, get rid of this, and this. Not this, because now I need to remake the surface. So I can just use sweep to rail again. one here. Okay. And here. Okay. I join it. And now here's something kind of important. This is a surface. This is a solid. I want to chop off this surface with this setting. How can I do that? There are different ways, but basically I would need to turn this shank into a solid. If I press cap, it makes it solid. It makes it solid because it's a flat hole. You see, this before being a solid, the surface had a flat hole. If it wasn't, you might need to use this option or this option, okay? But it's okay. It works like this. Let me show everything because I'm gonna save. Okay. Right now, I'm gonna try to make a Boolean difference to chop off the shank, and it worked. Okay. If it didn't work, what you probably should have done is get the bezel, edit the bezel, and check Boolean no. And if you try again like that, it would probably work. That is because when two objects are in the same level, sometimes it could create problems when making the Boolean difference. Okay, now if I make the rotation with copy, I could just get these two and probably I could make Boolean union. Yeah, it's also a bit better in terms of preparing the STL file to make instead of using Boolean difference here, the right thing to do would be to explode it, delete this, then select all this, join it, and now rotate with copy. Okay, it's a very subtle change. Some people might think that it don't make a difference. Of course it don't make a difference in terms of how the design looks like, but it makes a difference when exporting the file into an STL file. Okay, I'm gonna select the lines and delete them because I saved the document. And now let's put the clause. Sorry. Let's select one stone, F6, head builder. Right, of course we need to get rid of this. So if we right click on this, we will get rid of the two little jump rings. I'm gonna make this lower. A bit lower because it needs to go through that way. To be honest, I don't really use the clause from Matrix. Well, I rarely use them. I make my own. I think it's slightly better than that. Right, but I'm gonna use them because I want to draw a line inside the claw, and then I will reveal the claw myself. First of all, as you can see here, there's something wrong. Okay, the claws are not aligned with the shank. How can I rotate this claw? If I rotate it like that, it's not gonna work. See, it's not rotating nicely. So what we can do, select one stone, and on the third option, gem view on. What is that? It will basically let us see the stone exactly from the top view, on top of the stone. So we can just, we need to change the viewport of course, and then we can just rotate it like this, and we can still check it on the other view. Okay, I'm gonna rotate a bit more. Okay, that's more like something I like. If you wanna get rid of this gem view, just go to view and check this. It will restore all the viewports. Okay. Okay, let me just take a look how this look like. So I'm gonna copy. Yep. Okay, I like that. But as I said, I'm not gonna use this clause. So what am I going to do? I'm going to draw a line from this endpoint to the center of that point. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to get this close and I'm going to edit the close. Head builder. Oh, okay, it goes backwards. I need to edit the close first and then rotate them as we did. So let's do that. As you can see, by default, they are nice and rounded, but you can change that by pressing this button. So you can make them, that's how you get it inside the stone. That's all right. You can make it a bit longer. By default, on the first option, this option, you can only do this, well, and the rotation, the angle of the claw. But if you want to edit a bit more, you can go to the second option and you press P. It's a bit tricky because you need to get in red. It's going to allow you to make it a bit wider. Okay, I would usually make it a bit like tiger claw, but you can make it like that as well. Okay, I'm gonna just edit one claw. Okay, you can always make it a bit longer. I think that is a bit too much. Okay, and you can make the top, if you want to taper a little bit, you can reduce F6 head builder. If you wanted to make a bit tapered, you check the third option, press the P, and it's gonna taper. Okay, that looks quite alright. Okay, now as you can see, we only edit one claw mainly. The other one we haven't changed them, so we need to ungroup them. We can delete this, and now let's go back to the gem view as we did before. Gem view on. So we go here. We can simply just make a mirror. Let's make a mirror first, and then we will rotate all of them. Okay, so we can just rotate like that, and as you can see, we're editing all of them. It takes a bit of time to get used to gem view, but it's a really powerful tool. It can save you a lot of time. Okay, that looks quite alright. Then let me save again. My computer has been crashing lately too much, so okay. So let's get the claws. You can group them if you want. Just group. And now make a mirror copy. Okay, of course they are too long, but that has a very easy solution. Unlock the finger rail, make a cylinder out of it, and just make a Boolean difference. Okay, we're almost there. Also, this little thing here, there are different ways to edit it. As if we done it properly, one, it's the mirror copy of the other one, but the history might have stopped working. So let's just delete one and make a mirror copy of the other one with history on. So 0, enter. Okay, and now the whole thing consists on removing this little part here. Let's make the, we could consider this design finished at this stage, but we could also make it with the open gallery. Let's do the open gallery first. Well, actually, hang on. One of the ways, because this is going to be all joined together. How I'm going to do this, it's as you see it. The green is going to be one part, and the purple is going to be another part. So we could simply get one of the stones, F6, gem kata, and we use the straight one. I'm going to basically use it to chop off his brother, the other one. So if I got this, I could simply use this and chop this off. Okay, and if I copy the cutter to the other one, I could make it smaller. So I could just bezel cutter. Whoa, not bezel cutter, sorry, gem cutter. Gem cutter. I'm gonna make it smaller to this and just chop it. Okay. Okay, then let's get the finger rail. The other option, instead of doing what I've done, is just don't do anything, cast it in metal, and use your file or drills to chop it off. Okay, why do I see this funny? Because gem view is on. So let's restore the view. Okay, and now let's make let me save the model. This could be one option for the design. I would probably make the close a bit longer, but anyway. I'm gonna put this in another metal so I can hide the close only and the stone only. Right, I'm gonna use the finger rail, make a little offset around 0.9. I'm not sure if I'll have enough height for the stones to make it double gallery, but let's try. Okay, and now I'm gonna make a plane, surface plane, 3 points, and I'm gonna put a plane on top of it. I'm gonna scale it up if you want. Right, now, if this I extruded, solid no, I want this part to be thicker than the bottom part. So let me make an offset surface. I know that this is 0.8 or 0.9 I did, so let's do 1.4. Solid no. A bit more than that I could do. 1.5. Yeah, that looks quite alright. Okay, I can get the. Well, no, I'm gonna keep that. So what do I want to do now? Actually, let me try something. If I cap this and I make Boolean intersection of these two and these two, yeah, that's what I wanted. Okay, let me go backwards for a second. I'm gonna move all that to there. Okay, why? Because when I make Boolean intersection, this part will disappear. So I'm gonna make Boolean intersection of this and this. This is what I want. And now this part, this plane, I'm gonna copy it, stay with copy, there. I'm doing this right? Yeah, okay. And then split this with this, so I can get rid of this. And I split this with this, so I have this. Okay. The only thing that I did wrong, let me go backward 1 second. Well, it's not wrong, but it's just to make things easier. When you copy something next to it, just put a point, like a reference point, so you don't get lost. Okay. So you know how to put it back together later, because that's the problem I was having. That piece that I had finished here, I was trying to move it back, and I could do it, but it was not 100% accurate. So how do we make this 100% accurate? Like this. You keep a little point always. Okay, that's what they are for. So actually I don't need this. So I make a rotate with copy, and I split individually. Okay. Now if I make this solid and I make this solid, I just have to move this from the endpoint to the endpoint. And I just show the close, and it's alright, but I should have made this a bit longer actually. Okay, let's sort that out now. Show the stone, F6, gem on, and if I go here, F11, just move it down. Maybe not that much. Okay, that's it. Let me go back to the views and make and rotate with copy. Okay, that's it really. I'm looking forward to see your designs, what you're able to do, and of course, as usual, let me know if you have any problems, any questions, any design that you want to change yourself. I'm happy to help. Thank you so much.